Hello, beautiful singers. This is Valerie White Williams and Vocal Splendor Studios, and today I would like to talk to you about vibrato. Vibrato is one of those mysterious things that some people seem to be born with, and people often wonder, is that something you have to have naturally, or is it something that you can learn to have? Well, here's the deal. There are lots of people that do have naturally easy and clean vibratos. They have something that a lot of people struggle with, which is that really loose jaw. Vibrato is, in effect, doing everything right, which is using that breath energy, which we talk about in the diaphragm, using the diaphragm to hold back the breath and feel the energy, plus staying relaxed in the jaw. And that's the jaw, the chin, and the tongue, and the neck muscles. So when we have that relaxation and openness in our mouth and our muscles, combined with the breath energy, you get the vibrato. I call it your present because you do everything right and it happens. Vibrato is almost like a formula or a recipe. When you do the right things, you get the vibrato. The trick is to learn what you need to work on and why that vibrato isn't coming. Oftentimes, which is why I start with the breathing first, because that breath has to be solid. If you don't have the breath energy, it's difficult to get the vibrato. But more likely, for those especially who are studying and have still learned how to use the breathing, but the vibrato isn't there, typically what's happening to them is there's some tension that's being held back in the face that's causing the sound to not feel free. Because when we think of vibrato, we think of that spiral. That's really the way I like to think about it, is a spiral versus a shimmer. Because there is certain beats per second, it's even and it's tight without being overly fast or overly slow. So there's certain ratio that we're looking at aiming our voice into, and that's going to vary based on the voice type you are. The richer, fuller voices might be a little slower. The higher, thinner, more narrow voices might be a little tighter. Now still, in that setting, we have voices that are outside the normal of what we ideally want to hear in a vibrato. That would be the tremolo or the really fast vibrato. Sometimes people do stuff like this, or even shake their head. That doesn't have that spin and spiral. It has that kind of nervous energy. Typically when that happens, people are not using the breathing in a consistent level. So for that is to learn to use more breath energy and relax and let the breath energy do the work. The other kind of vibrato we hear, which isn't an attractive, it's kind of a sick vibrato, so to speak, is the wobble. And the wobble is what you hear the Cowardly Lion do on The Wizard of Oz. Of course, that's a joke. But you hear sometimes old ladies at church, but even young people can get wobbles. And that happens when there's too much weight in the voice and they're pushing it. So it's like this. Whoa! You see how it's really wide and it sounds like a wobbly car. So that's from too much heaviness. We can go back and fix that, learn to be a little more gentle with the breathing and not push so heavily and weight the voice down. Typically happens in older singers, but young singers can do it too if they're, again, adding weight to the voice and trying to sound mature. But for most purposes, to develop the vibrato is to work on what I call the recipe for that nice, clean voice, which is using the breath energy and having that relaxed face and not letting tension come in like the chin or the tongue or these other things that can kind of dampen down the voice and letting it be free. Because again, we're working on the sound waves, so the voice projects away from us and we get that nice big sound. So a clean vibrato, I feel, from right here. So I'm going to sing. I think of a little button that I press right here that increases the breath energy so I get that vibrato to kick in. And vibrato is used in different types of music differently. Obviously classical and anything operatic, we want that vibrato as soon as the note starts, the immediate vibrato. So it takes incredible breath energy to have that consistent sound. Where pop singers, some musical theater, vibrato may be used as maybe an embellishment at the end of the phrase, like "I know," stuff like that. But you want to be able to feel that control of vibrato in the breathing and in the relaxation. So it's hard to say. Vibrato is one of those things that you can't really work on it, but you work on the skills that lead up to it, and then it happens naturally. So again, back to the breathing, back to the relaxation. When you do that right, you have vibrato, and that's it. So keep practicing. That's it for today, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.